Hello, good afternoon everyone. For today I will be discussing about building industry collaboration for training programs. Okay, so we have two learning objectives. So at the end of the lesson, students should be able to first recognize the importance of forming linkages between training institution and industries. Second, identify steps in establishing partnership with industry stakeholders. Okay, let's define first what is industry collaboration in training. So, industry collaboration and training is a partnership between a school or training institution and a business or company to help students gain hands-on experience and real-world skills. Through this collaboration, students can apply what they've learned in class by working in actual industry settings like factories, offices, hotels, or shops. So this type of partnership ensures that training programs are relevant to job market needs, improves the students' chances of getting hired, and helps companies to develop future skilled workers. It's a win to win for both education and industry. So, industry collaboration and training is a partnership or collaboration between a school and a training institution or training company to help the students or our trainees to gain hands-on experience on a real-world situation or in a real-world workplace so that the students can apply their skills, their knowledge, that they've learned in class. So by working in a actual setting. So this type of partnership ensures that the training programs are relevant to the job market needs and improve student chances of getting hired to their future career. So it is a win-to-win situation for both education and industry because they are enhancing a future skilled workers, and also for education, they are enhancing or equipping the students skills that they can apply it to their future career. Okay, let's come now to the introduction. So training in a real work environment is known as job-based training. For work-based training, the training facility may decide to open a business like parlor, car dealership, or small eatery or canteen. Generally speaking, though, in order to provide work-based training, you must have relationship with the industry. The legal foundation for forming a cooperative connection with the industry for training purposes is provided by the Dual Training Act. So, training in a real work environment is called or known as a job-based training or a work-based training because students can apply their knowledge and skills in an actual workplace. So sometimes the schools and institutions may set up or provide their own business like a parlor, canteen, or small shop to give a trainees a hands-on experience with the institution. So like for instances, may mga schools tayo na nagkakandak ng on-the-job training sa loob lang ng institutions. However, the best way to provide effective work-based training is by partnering with the real industries or with the real partnerships so that they can expose our trainees or our students to the real operation or to the actual workplace where the professional practices is done. To make this partnership official and legally valid, schools and industries rely on legal foundations such as agreement or laws. Like for instance, the Dual Training Act that define the rules, roles, and responsibilities of both parties, the school and the partner industry. Next, establishing an industry linkage. So, strong partnership with industry are essential in successfully delivering work-based training. So, as a trainer, it is important to understand how to build and sustain these linkages to support the practical development of your trainees. So, establishing industry linkages means creating partnership between schools or training institution and companies to provide real work-based training for students or our trainees. So this connection help our trainees gain a hands-on experience and apply what they've learned in class and understand the actual workplace environment. For trainers, building and maintaining a strong linkages ensures that the students are better prepared for future careers, while industries also benefit from skilled and job-ready workers. So let's come now to the recommended step-by-step approach for establishing an effective industry connection. So first, search for prospective industry partners. Pick a field in which 60 to 70% of the course material may be taught executed. Seek out sectors that could fulfill the requirements for structured work-based training. Willing to deploy staff to oversee operation or offer supervised industry training. So the first step is to identify a prospective industry partners that related to the course or to the specialize of your students, where the most of the lessons can apply it in a real settings. Like for instances, your student is specialized of food service management, so you need to find a industry partner with related to the specialize of your students. If your students is under food service management or specialized by food service management, so you need to find restaurant, hotels, or any industries that related to a foods. Ensure that the training is relevant and meaningful to the trainees para ma-apply nila yung natutunan nila during their lectures in their class. So, yon, dapat related sa courses or program ng students natin. And also, you should also check if these industries are open to hosting trainees and assigning staff who can supervise and guide our students or trainees during their work-based training. So, if they cannot guide our students or trainees, then hindi yun yung partner industries na hinahanap natin. So, if the partner industries is willing to host or guide our students, then mas mabuti and yun yung hinahanap na prospective industry partners po natin. So, second recommendation is that send proposal letters or follow-up and visitation, providing an overview of dual training, the program's features, and its benefits for the business or sectors. So after identifying a potential partners, you need to formally introduce the program through a proposal letter. So this letter should explain the concept of dual training, its features, and the benefits for the industries, such as gaining skilled future workers. So follow-ups and visitation are important to show commitment and build trust to our industry partners. So the third step is that set an appointment for presentation, which explain clearly the concept and mission of work-based training. So once the interested is shown, or once the industry is interested to the partnership, you need to arrange a meeting with the industry partner to present the training program. The appointment allows you to clearly explain the goals and objectives of work-based training. It also opens a chance for discussion about how the partnership will operate. The fourth step is that presentation. Consider using brochures, a poster, a video presentation, or a slide to show. So during the presentation or during your presentation, make use of materials like brochure, posters, slides, or video to better illustrate the program. A clear and engaging presentation helps the industry understand the advantages of partnership. It should highlight both the benefits to the students and the contribution of the company. So, number 5 step is conduct site visit work-based training plan. The goal of the training plan is to align the trainees in planned training activities with the school's curriculum. So, in this step, visiting the partner's site to create a training plan that aligns with the school's curriculum. This ensures that what the trainees learn in the industry directly support their academic learning. It also both parties agrees on the rules and responsibilities and schedule of the trainings. Next is that finalize the training plan and Memorandum of Agreement (MOA) or Memorandum of Understanding. The terms and regulations regulating work-based training are outlined in the MOA or Memorandum of Understanding, which is a legal document. You may use the Dual Training Act of 1994 when you're planning for the MOA. So, at this step, both the schools and industry's partner agree on the details of the training program. The MOA or Memorandum of Understanding is a formal legal document that outlines the rules, responsibilities, and regulations of the partnership. To ensure compliance of both parties, it is often guided by the Dual Training Act of 1994, which provides the legal framework of work-based training. The next step is present the training plan and MOA or the Memorandum of Understanding for approval. It required that both parties sign and agree on any clarifications or modifications to the training plan or MOA. So, after drafting the plan and agreement, these documents are presented for review and approval by both parties, the schools and industries. If any needed clarifications or adjustment or any changes are discussed to make sure everything is clear and fair for both parties. So once finalized the training program, the reviewing the document, so both the schools and industry partner must sign the agreement to make it official. So the next is placement of the trainees in the industries. Before heading to the industry for training, the trainers or in the institution's industry linkage coordinator should conduct the trainees orientation. The supervisor in charge of the training should also receive orientation on how the industry functions and how training should be conducted in the sector. So, before trainees start their industry experience or their on-the-job training, they must attend an orientation conducted by the trainers or the institution industry linkage coordinator. This prepares them for the expectations, rules, and responsibility during the training experience. So likewise, industry supervisor also receive orientation to ensure they understand how to properly guide and evaluate trainees. So, di ba po, for instances, nung tayo po ay nagkaroon ng supervised industry training is nagkaroon muna tayo ng ating orientation with our coordinator, and they discuss the rules and regulations and the professionalism. And also, bago tayo nag-start ng ating on-the-job training or SIT training is that the industry orient us on how the restaurant or on how the industry works and what are the roles and responsibilities and regulations of the industry. So, di ba po, nag-conduct tayo ng orientation before our training. And monitoring. So, make frequent trips to the industry and keep an eye on the work-based training activities. During monitoring, any modifications to the training program should be recorded. So, during the training, the school or the institution must regularly visit the industry site to monitor the trainees. If the trainees performs well, if they have any progress, to make sure that they are learning and they are gaining skills. Monitoring ensures that the training activities match the agreed training plan. If adjustments are needed, they should be documented and discussed to improve the learning experience. So next, work-based training evaluation. So, an assessment of the training's conduct should be conducted taking into account both the program's implementation and its achievement of its goals. Reports on monitoring and evaluation are shared in order to enhance the program and trainee performance. So, once the training is completed, an evaluation is conducted to assess how well the program was implemented and whether its objectives were met. This evaluation includes feedback on both trainees' performance and overall effectiveness of the program. Reports from monitoring and evaluation are then used to improve future training activities. So, when we are undergoing our SIT training or our on-the-job training, 'di ba? Nung tayo ay tapos na, they evaluate us and nag-provide po ang ating institution or nag-provide po ang ating coordinator ng evaluation and binigay po natin sa kanila sa ating supervisors sa ating industries to evaluate us. And di ba po sa evaluation may feedbacks and ratings. So if you perform well, then okay yung evaluation mo. So di ba may binibigay na evaluation po talaga to see the progress, if may progress ba yung ating students or trainers. So that's the 10 recommended step-by-step for an effective collaboration. So the memorandum of agreement and understanding should include the clear and defined rules and obligation of the industry and the training institution in work-based training. So let's come now to the rules and duties of the institution. So first, implement policies that support work-based training. So in the institution or the school should create clear rules and guidelines that encourage and support work-based training. These policies help ensure that training is organized, standardized, and effective. With strong policies, both students and industry partners benefit from a structured program. So second, provide full cooperation and backing for work-based training initiatives. So the school must actively support and participate in all training activities. This includes providing resources, staff, and assistance to make the program successful. Cooperation builds trust between the institution and the industry partners. So third, appoint an industry coordinator. So an industrial coordinator is assigned to serve the link between the school and the company. This person ensures the smooth communication, resolve concerns, and monitors trainee performance. Having coordinator makes the partnership more organized. So, di ba nung tayo ay nagkaroon ng SIT training, nagkaroon tayo ng coordinator and siya yung nag-organize and siya yung nag-plan ng lahat para maging successful or para magkaroon tayo ng successful SIT training. So next is promote staff development for personnel involved in work-based training. So teachers or the coordinator or staff should also receive training to improve their knowledge and skills. This allows them to better guide trainees and align with industry standard. Continuous development ensures quality education and training delivery. So di ba nga po ang ating coordinators or teachers is always learning. Dapat tayo matuto sa mga demand ng ating industry training para mas mag-guide natin ang ating students or trainees. So next is collaborate with the private sectors to ensure meaningful and effective work-based training. So the institution or the school should maintain strong partnership with industries. Collaboration ensures that the training given is practical, relevant, and up-to-date with the industry needs. This way, students gain skills that are truly useful in the workplace. So next is find out the skills that the sectors really wants to requires and compare them to the abilities that the institutions offer. So the school must research and identify what skills industries demand from workers. This should then be compared with the schools currently teaches. This helps in adjusting the curriculum to meet the world requirements or the real world demands. So next is the trainees should receive through theoretical instruction and simulation. So before going to the industries, before your students go to the industries, students must first learn theories and practice through simulations in schools. So this prepares the students for actual work and reduces mistakes during training. A strong foundations ensures better performance in the field. So, before tayo nagkaroon ng SIT training or on-the-job training, is that nagkaroon muna tayo ng simulation or we learn first theories and practices. So, nagkaroon tayo ng lectures and laboratories para mas mahasa or mas magkaroon tayo ng knowledge and skills about our specific or specialized program. Next is arrange industry partners. So, the institution is responsible for finding or identifying or connecting with companies willing to host trainees. Building these linkages ensures students have places for practical training. So, without industry partners, work-based learning or on-the-job learning would not be possible. So, let's come now to the duties role of the industry. So, first, offer training for job orientation. So, the industry must orient the trainees about the company, its background, and work processes. This helps students understand the environment where they will be working. So, di ba, nung nag-SI3 training nga po tayo, first, we conducted a orientation and they orient us about the background or work processes of the industries. So, second, give hands-on instruction in areas to have been identified. So, trainees should be given real task and practical experience in the workplace. They may also be rotated across different departments to gain broader skills. So, nung nagkaroon po tayo ng SIT training, di ba po may na-assign po sa atin na front of house and back of house. So, this rotation is para maging flexible ang ating mga students and trainees sa ating sa mga skills and sa mga ginagawa during the training process. So next is select the training coordinator. So the industry appoints a coordinator who assign trainers and supervisor to guide the trainees. This ensures that training is well managed and organized. So, di ba po, nung tayo po ay nagkaroon ng SAT training, so based on our experience, di ba po, ginaid po tayo ng mga staff doon. And may mga captain sa front of house and back of house na nag-guide po sa atin kung paano po mag-take orders, paano ba gawin yung ganitong process para mas ma-enhance or ma-equip yung knowledge and skills po ng ating trainees. So, next is supply the necessary tools and training materials. So, the company must provide the equipment and resources needed for hands-on training. This allows trainees to practice effectively and safely. So, hindi naman po pwede na doon sa industry is magdadala pa po yung mga trainees natin ng mga equipments para gamitin po nila. So, the industry or the company must provide the equipment and resources that needed on the hands-on training of the trainees or of the students. So, number 5 is inform the manager about work-based training exercises. So, the company should update its management about the progress and activities of the training program. This keeps operation aligned with the company's goals. So next, give individuals the chance to learn by doing. Industries provide students the opportunity to apply what they've learned in school through actual work experience. This helps them to develop their confidence and competencies. So, di ba po, nung tayo po ay nagkaroon ng SIT training, hinayaan po tayo ng industries or ng company na i-apply yung natutunan po natin. Like for instance, we do the welcoming the guest, we do the taking orders, bus outing, di ba po, is natutunan po natin yon during our laboratories or during our lectures in class. And also, we do the kung saan tayo is nasa back of house, we do the cooking, frying, or anything na pwede nating matulong that we are knowledgeable enough kasi natutunan na natin ito during our laboratory activities. So next is provide trainees with professional knowledge and conduct. So trainees should be exposed to proper workplace behavior, methods, and professional skills. This prepares them for future employment. So di ba po, nung po tayo nag-SIT training is na-expose po tayo on how to work with professionalism. So next is set up curricula and work-based training station. So the industry, in coordination with the school, establishes a structured training curriculum. A designated training stations ensure focuses on effective learning for the trainees or for the students. So let's come now to the duties roles of industry supervisor. So first, provides the trainees with the policies and procedures of the company. So supervisors explains the rules, regulations, and procedures trainees must follow. This ensures discipline and safety in the workplace. So, di ba, nag-conduct tayo during our orientation and explain sa atin yung rules and regulations and procedure na trainees must follow. And yung mga safety workplace, if yung mga equipments ay safe or may mga dapat hindi dapat hawakan. So diniscuss yan during our orientation. So second, offers direction and assistance. So supervisors guide trainees in performing their task correctly. They also give support whenever trainees encounter difficulties. So, di ba, hindi po natin maiiwasan na magkamali tayo and supervisor must ensures that whenever the trainees or the students encounter difficulties, they ensure that they support and sinasabihan tayo lagi ng okay lang yan, bago parang new pa kasi sa'yo. So, next time, ganito na yung gawin mo. So, diba, yun yung lagi nating natatanggap during our SIT training. So, next is guarantees a safe training environment. So, the supervisor ensures that the trainees are working under safe condition. They take preventive measures to avoid accidents. Next, prepare and send accidents reports. So if any accidents happens, the supervisor must report to the company immediately. This ensures proper documentations and response. So next is recommend appropriate training location. So supervisors assign the students or the trainees to the right department based on the training needs. This makes their learning more relevant and practical. Next is monitors the trainees' record book. So the supervisor regularly checks the logbook to see the trainees' daily activities. This serves as a proof of attendance and performance. So next is observe trainees' performance and suggest discipline. So supervisors assess how well trainees are doing and recommend a corrective action if necessary. This helps trainees to improve their behavior and skills. So, sometimes, di ba, kapag may na if there are instances na nakakagawa ng yung trainees ng mali or nakakagawa ng yung trainees na hindi appropriate or hindi okay yung actions niya, mas better if sabihin ng supervisor para mas ma-improve yung behavior and skills ng trainees natin. So next is give certificates of completion. So at the end of the training, supervisor issues certificate to successful trainees. These serve as proof of their accomplishment. So di ba nung tayo ay natapos na sa ating SIT training, is that naka-receive tayo ng certificate galing sa ating industry partners or sa ating supervisors. So, yun, it will serve that the trainees is successfully completed that training. So, next is complete the performance evaluation report. So, supervisors write a final evaluation of the trainees' overall performance. If they have progress, if they've learned, if ano ba yung progress or ano ba yung feedback ng ating supervisor to our trainees or to our students. So this report is shared with the school for assessment. So di ba nung in-evaluate tayo ng ating supervisor or ng ating industry partner is pinasa natin ito sa ating schools for the assessment of the industry. So next is the duties and roles of trainees. First is possess the physical fitness required for the work-based training. So trainees must be healthy and capable of handling the physical demands of training. So, second is possess the capacity to understand and adhere to both written and oral instructions. So, they should be attentive and able to understand direction given by the supervisors. So, third is show appropriate discipline at all times. So, trainees are expected to behave properly and respect workplace rules, and they should also ipakita yung professionalism during the work or the training. So next is display appropriate work habits and behaviors that are acceptable to the organization. So they should act professionally and responsibly while performing the task or while on the work or training. So next is adhere to company rules and regulations. So trainees must follow all the policies, the regulation, the rules of the company strictly. Next is utilize only the facilities permitted for trainees. They should only access equipments and areas that are allowed for trainees. So, dapat ang ating trainees is kung saan lang sila pwede or allowed na area or allowed na gamiting equipment ay dapat doon lang sila mag-i-stay or gagamit ng equipment. So, next is maintain punctuality and regular attendance. So, trainees must always be on time and consistent in reporting to training. So, if they have, if mag-absent sila or mag-rusty sila, they should paalam sa ating supervisor. Next is stay attentive and follow instruction carefully. So, they should remain focused on their task and avoid distractions. And next is complete all required forms. So, trainees must fill out the attendance sheets, logbooks, and other necessary documents that are needed to the trainings. So, next is the uphold integrity and honesty in the workplace at all times. So trainees must perform their task truthfully and avoid misconduct in the workplace. So that's it, ang ating duties and roles of the trainees. So here are the example of memorandum of agreement and memorandum of understanding. So if they are not visible enough, so you can check on the reference that Sir uploaded to the G-class. So makikita nyo yung example, memorandum of understanding and memorandum of agreement. So that's it. Thank you for listening, class. So I hope you learned something today. If you have any question, clarifications, just comment and pag-uusapan natin yan. So thank you and keep safe.